Good Abend, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to TOBI Tweaks. Today's topic: how I bought the cheapest large format mixing desk in the country, part 1. So this is a series that I wanted to make after I have been asked several times on how I got into actually restoring some of the analog equipment that I showcase here on the channel. So, quick introduction: I bought this desk off Kleinanzeigen here in Germany, and it was not in a good state as the owner had removed the desk from service 8 years ago, and I get into what my theory is on why that happened later in this series. Then unfortunately the owner died, and this desk was standing in a corner of a studio and just rotting away. So on a last minute call for somebody to pick it up, I got it for cheap. I went there, picked it up, and these are my first steps on restoring this ADT large format desk. Viel Spaß!
So, here we have it. Big desk, 2.50 meters wide. You can see the patch bay with tie lines. There's a blank channel to the left, so it's 35 channels fitted. You can see heavy use on these. This has been used day in, day out, but it's mostly complete. On the faders and stuff, you can see some of the marks disappeared already. This must have been used, for daily work. Here's the power supply. Chunky thing. Then I have my tape, my bags, bigger bags for other stuff. So let's pack it up. So here we have it with all the modules out. You can see the bus boards that are soldered to the frame, which I figured later. Here we have the patch bay with all the cables. Let's go. So at this point we figured to make it more transportable, we actually have to cut cables, because these cable ties to the right were not pluggable. Hurts, but let's do it.
Okay, so here's what it looks like now. We got it safe into my room. This is basically where I live and have my workshop as well. A friend helped me to get it back on its feet as it's super heavy. And I already started repairing some of the cable connections that I had to cut in order to make it transportable. You can see it here from the input boards. I did it because I could then split the top assembly in half, which made it possible to transport it in my elevator. And now I went on to make these connections pluggable via PCB connectors. I will test each of these and then secure the points with screw paint so that these last and are stable. You can see here
the input boards that I fitted already. And I have the minimum configuration plugged in right now, which would be 1 channel, and then the master section. And I think I could even take out this one, which is for talkback, and then these are always split to have a stereo returns on top. So these are all stereo returns, and then on the bottom we have the talkback section, the master section, which is upgraded in my desk. You can see here it has a fader instead of a knob, so we have a more premium master section. The rest is economy, which is super nice because here we have the compressor and we have an elliptic equalizer. I will get back to that later. So I will try and get a minimum configuration going to test my ins and outs with a channel that I'll move, and then see what kind of signal I get from the master. But before I get into that, I want to recap the power supply in order for it not to blow up, because this desk is from 96, so it has been 26 years. And you can see I took it apart in order to get to the caps, the big power caps, and these one look a bit bulky, so I don't want to risk anything. And knowing that these Rödensteins are old, and I have several in my desk, you can see them here and they are cracked. I know this is a different series and they're known for exploding, but still I don't want to take a risk on these ones, so I ordered power caps. I'll recap the power supply, test it, calibrate it. In the manual it says the correct voltage is important for THD and headroom, so I will do that, and then we'll see if we can fire up our little minimum configuration all here in my room. I keep you updated, so stay tuned, and bis bald. Welcome back to episode 2. This is me restoring the ADT large format mixing desk, and I will continue with the big clean. So watch me as I remove all the knobs and buttons. Viel Spaß! So, fast forward, I have all the knobs and buttons removed of most of the channels. The master section is still intact, let's say, and then I have the premium channels with the dynamics not in, so I could reach the master module while working on it, which is still not working yet, sadly. I have a few more things that I will try, and then because I wouldn't get the schematics for it, I will be in touch with ADT to maybe have it repaired. Sometimes it is like that and you can't do everything yourself, which is totally fine for me. And like I said, all the knobs and button removed. I cleaned the surface already with water, just plain water, and like Fit or Fettlöser. I don't know what that would be in English, but like to get the stains off, and like from all the touching, it's basically fat or whatever, grease or stuff that's coming from your skin. And I did that, and then I also did kind of like a second polish, you could say, where I would use like Waffenöl, this kind of stuff, to have the surface a little bit protected. Not much, just a teeny tiny bit. But then, that would be kind of like a coating. I'll still check if I would get new fader plates. I'm in touch with ADT as well about that. And then let me show you, all the knobs and buttons are here. This is Lego, and as we have, it's Christmas season, gets me right back to where I was as a kid. But these also will have to be cleaned, as a lot of them just have stains all over from being touched. Yeah, I want to get these nice and clean to make the desk look like new. That's the update for now, and see you soon. This took literally hours. Like, I was getting to a point where it made me proud if I managed to get like all the knobs in, but then like all the knobs just from the E channels, which is 20 out of 32. And then I would get like all of these buttons done in 3 hours, and I was like, oh yeah, that was actually very fast. Like, I did all the knobs in just 3 hours, but I spent literally hours just putting in knobs. Maintenance in between, but yeah, here you see me chipping away at the fader plates, which I actually brushed off. The dB charts were unreadable and you could actually peel these off with your fingers, and I didn't want to get the debris of that into the fader, so here it is, all cleaned. Yes, welcome to the latest update of my Adt mixing desk. As you can see, quite a few things have changed. For example, the meter bridge is in, and of course, now after you've seen the time lapse, actually all of the buttons and caps and everything are in. It looks quite nice when I have it set up. I don't, as you can see, because I'm right now working on the modules to get all the technical faults that have accumulated, burnt op amps or failed op amps and missing connections, stuff like that. Get it all working. I'm marking things like, yeah, I have to calibrate this one side of the stereo channel, but I'm getting along pretty well. I'm now waiting for some parts. I'm having the master module sent to Adt itself to have it calibrated and repaired, because there was a fault that I couldn't fix. And with all the other faults that I was able to fix, I did not film them. As for me, especially not having the schematics, finding the faults can take quite long, but they also can go very quick. So this uncertainty made me concentrate on the fixing side first. But I have a video where I explain some of the things that I did. So you might learn something. The process was quite nice and it was quite rewarding. Yeah, you can see there's one hole in the meter bridge. It's a photo of Carla, a good friend who sadly passed away. But she is sitting in front of, and maybe now you recognize it. It's an Adt as well in Hannover. And she's here to keep my spirits up, as this is quite a big project. So yeah, that's it for now. I'll keep you updated and see you very soon. Alright, so big trouble coming up with the desk.
I just figured that most of the resonance controls throughout the desk are broken and unusable. Talking about 70 potentiometers. I had a chat with ADT, they're trying to figure the right configuration, but the calculation was about €10 per pot from their side, making it quite expensive, and we see how it goes, but I'll probably have to, yeah. So as you can see, I took one there already, and I have another one marked, because you could turn these 360. Quite funny, but actually not so funny. I was checking in to get two, but then when I measure those, I would figure that even the ones that feel okay just don't have contact anymore, like most of them. I think amongst 8 that I checked, there was 2 usable. So, yeah. And then a lot of these just feel very weird. So I started on the cabling. The desk came with 4 of these 30-pin Siemens Messerleisten, and they had Messerleisten on both sides. So I tried and cut them up to make these ones actual 8 XLR snakes, giving me a total of 80 inputs that I'll use to the patch bay. As you can see, I do have 80 tie lines right there, which will be neat to connect to converters, different patch bays, whatever, to make use of all the nice functions of the desk. Stay tuned. So here's the latest edition. I was finally able to acquire an automation system for this console. This console comes pre-fitted with VCA faders that already have, oh yeah, there it is, the snakes going out. And then I was able to acquire this Optify Tetra. It flew all the way from the States. Very happy with it, as it is in tip-top shape. Just look at this. Very, very nice. This is from 94. I will check it. They were kind enough to grant me 30 days of time to test it. And I can send it back if there's anything wrong, but it looks so nicely preserved. I don't know if this has even ever been installed. Very, very happy. I'll get myself a nice little display. Yeah, shut up for something funky like this. And then we'll be checking it out. And hopefully it works. Okay, I am very happy to announce that the automation... Oh yeah, there's the documentation. It works! I received it. It came all the way from America. They granted me to send it back if it does not work. Fortunately, it does work. Let me explain. Here I have it set up. The console came with all the connections for the Optify system, which is super cool. I hooked it up. You see I have the unit open because the software update came in form of these EEPROM chips. This is the 1.0, and very importantly, I have the 1.1 now installed. 1.1 means I do have access to the utility program, which is super important, as I need that to actually change the fader law and adjust it to the console. Now, in order to make all of this work,
I had to solder a cable, which here you can see the video output, which is a 9-pin D-sub. And then, yeah, there goes that. It's a long cable and it goes into my television right now. You can see it here. Very nice. And I actually soldered a SCART cable. That's the configuration into the manual. Here you can see the main manual. Looks funky. I love it. And yeah, like I said, I was already able to run the utility software, adjust the fader law, and now let me show you. There we go. Yeah, this is the 0 dB right here. It's the 0 dB right here. I brushed all of the rest of the markings off because I knew 0 dB is here, and I knew I will have an automation system which will enable me to snapshot mixes, so I don't need markings next to the fader for recall, because I have a computer for recall. And look at it go. This is it. The keyboard looks like it has never been used. I am very happy. Now look at that. Super cool. Hello and welcome back. So back on the topic of the resonance potentiometers. After a tip from my dad, I took one apart, which worked rather nicely, as I just had to bend off the metal enclosure. And yeah, looking inside, this is how they look like. I'm just assuming that the previous owner had a problem with some of these and then just sprayed whatever stuff in them. And yeah, this is how they look like from the inside. Now the question for me would be, well, I would try and clean this one, then see how it works. Oh, see all that stuff that came. Yeah, that was all. Well, that's just my dirty workbench. I'm sorry for that, but goddamn. Yeah, I would clean it, and then I might clean my desk as well. So I will clean it and then see how it works then. I mean, the rest of the fader looks alright. Like, this looks pretty good. I might give it a bit more edge for like better contact. And then, well, we have the trace. This looks alright as well. So yeah, let me try that and I'll be back. Okay, welcome back to the ADT desk. Let me show you the setup that I have. It is for testing the EQ. And as I said, big drama with the equalizer. Now let me show you what the problem is and why I came to the conclusion that almost all the resonance pots in the desk were broken. Now I have this one to be tested, and let me crank resonance control, broader setting. Let me crank the gain and see what happens. Now there's two things to mention. First thing is, I have it on plus 18 decibels. And I'm getting like 7.5. Now as I turn the resonance control, see what happens. The boost just disappears. Now another thing that I noticed was that a lot of these resonance controls do feel very funky, like sticky, not going. But then it was also just the resonance that felt like that. Other ones feel pretty fine. Yeah. So I thought, well, they're all broken. I need new parts for the whole desk. Now the first thing that I did was, because of a tip from my dad, I would take one of these pots out and actually disassemble them. Now let me see. I should have one on my bench. Now here's the pot, and then I don't know why I wouldn't figure this myself, but yeah, you can actually open those. Like, you can't open the ones that I started to figure it, which is the ones in the SPL channels. You can't open these pods, but these ones that are built into the D channels with the dynamics and the E channels, which make up most of my desk, you can actually open them. And these are mainly the ones feeling funky. So I would open and clean these thinking, okay, that will solve the problem. Now, big drama was I already talked to ADT, and they was putting together an order of like literally 70, or I think I ordered 66 of these pods new for €8 a piece. Now, huge shout out to ADT. They would have me cancel that order and reduce it to I think I'm getting 3 now, because I would figure, well, this is not the problem. They measure correct, the fault's still there. Now, nobody sadly could help me on the fault, as I don't know if you know, the founder of ADT died recently, and people say he wouldn't even make schematics, as he just knew by heart what was going on. Now, back to the fault. So, I am testing the bus. So knowing that the pods wouldn't be it, I tried several different things. I worked on other faults in the desk, like resoldering some of the connections. And then somehow I would miraculously repair 1 or 2. But you know how it is, if you fix something and you don't know how, it's some of the scariest things, because you know it could happen again or whatever. And you wouldn't really have fixed it. Turns out, just by accident, the mid EQs to have these little trim pods, and they have bad connections. That's simply it. Like, if you wiggle them a bit, you get all the resonance back. Now, what I'm doing is I'm going through the whole desk. I'm still identifying pods that feel funky and that I will clean. That's a big thing. But then also I have this setup where I would tune the resonance, and let me make a video of how that looks like, because it's actually nice, and I'm getting pretty excited of having a desk full of tuned equalizers, which is awesome. And that's basically it. That was all it took. No broken parts, no hustling with changing everything in the whole desk. Now, in my defense, what makes this build so tricky and so frustrating or anxious sometimes, that I wouldn't have any schematics. Like, the company still exists. They say that they still manufacture these type of equalizers and preamps and whatnot, so they wouldn't give schematics. And I won't go into my opinion here, but I know that it makes it quite frustrating to service it at home, as I would have to basically figure stuff myself. And as soon as it gets into control voltages, like anything beyond following the signal around, you just have to guess. And I know when the founder was still alive, you could always call and he would just give you a hint. Sadly, this opportunity is not there anymore, and with that not being there anymore, you would have to question, okay, how how should I handle this? Should I send in stuff? And then even me being a person who's able to figure most of it, especially when having the technical documents, it's not always easy. But pretty sure we'll make this work. Yeah, and that's it for today. I'll go more into details in the next episodes. Have a great time. Okay, so despite finding the fault in the trim pots, my theory is because the resonance controls, a lot of them feel very weird. And then I opened one or two just to find out there's lots of just like stuff in there. My theory is that these might have gone faulty while still in service, like the trim pots. And then somebody tried to compensate by just spraying the pots. Well, but the problem was somewhere on the board, so it wouldn't make a difference. But now I have all these pots, and you can see I took them out. It's quite a few. And I have already cleaned them. I spared you this mess. But basically you can open them here and then clean it. I do it with alcohol, basically clean it. And yeah. I'll be putting all of these back in. See you later. Okay, so here's another important fix. The desk consists of a lot of switches who operate the routing matrix, for example, or other functions. And these switches have different configurations. As you can see, some are very long. Let me show you on the other side. Some are rather short. Now, the problem with these is one thing, I had to clean all of them with, I used this one. It was a recommendation from the ADT tech. But also, you can see here how they work is they have a spring, and then there's this plastic plateau which stops the spring. Sorry for showing you the dirtiest one of them all, but yeah, there's a plastic plateau stopping the spring. Now sadly, if they get bigger, they have quite strong force working on here, meaning that especially with these ones who are the longest in the desk, quite a huge switches, they switch a lot. And then the plastic plateau would chip off, meaning that this wouldn't be pressed up by the spring. How I fixed it was I would find that some switches by different manufacturers, now this, I don't know what this is exactly, might be Alps. They use these metal stoppers for the springs, and I couldn't find them like without the switches, so I bought these for kind of cheap, and it might be nice to have spares. I detached this metal thing and then just simply glued it on here. Now this thing shouldn't break. It took me quite some time to get the gluing right, as I had to brush it with sandpaper in order to make the glue stick. So this is my second attempt, but now it's working rather nicely. Hello and welcome from the bench. So I'm servicing the input modules of the ADT desk. It are these plug-in modules that go right here in the top of the channel strip, right where you have the controls for the input as well. Some of these did not work as supposed, and in the first round when checking the inputs, I noticed that there is this SSM 2017 which failed a few times, and then also you can see here I placed them already. There are 4 bipolar caps on this board, and they not only tended to have cold soldering joints, kalte Lötstellen you say in German, where the pins just broke off and they didn't have contact, but also some of them looked deformed and did not work properly. And as you can see, I have these two exchanged now. One of them looked bad and the other one, it's this section right here, which is actually the bus amplifier. So if you route anything to a group on this routing matrix and have it come back in the channel via the bus amplifier, it goes through this. I'm testing it right now and some of these don't work. So I go and look after this cap. And then also this amp right here. But I have an oscilloscope, like a tiny one, but it does the job. And I can check if I get signal or not. So yeah, this is a little insight on how I work in restoring the board. Okay, so this is a big moment for me. Let me show you what happened here. I was working on the input modules now for a while, testing not only the line input, where I had to replace some of the SSM 2017 input ICs, but also the bus matrix, where I checked the switches and then as well the input stage on the input boards. Now every channel works, receives not only the line but also the bus amping, which is quite complex as you have monitor inserts and all kinds of funky stuff going from the input cards. And then also you have routing configurations where via direct you can not only configure direct out but also change the way the bus amp is addressing the insert as the bus stage. Let me show you on the patch bay. The input configuration for each channel is a line in, and then you have a mic in on the back of the console. You would then have the inserts in and out, and then also you have the bus out and a monitor insert, which you could return on the monitor return. Yeah, and now finally I got it all tested. I got it all working. There was a few faults. They were quite tricky to find. Somewhere I'm not sure if I even properly fix it or just... Most of it is context basically, and that's what I'm learning with this one. Older stuff I have experience, which is a bit older, you know, like that. So these guys from the early 80s, late 70s. The faults there are a lot of times actually down to components like capacitors, but with this build I would say maybe 10 to 15% is faulty ICs, as I had to replace some SSM 2017s or any 5534s and a few 5532s. But most of it is missing contacts. I don't know, broken contacts, switches, all that kind of jazz. But yeah, this makes you very happy. This one, I have 32 meters, but only 31 mono channels. One is a blank one here, and then there's the master channel still at 80. I could fit one of the stereos in a position with a meter and then have all the meters working, but this is for the future. Right now, let's enjoy the little party here, and yeah, see you for the next update. Hello and welcome back. This is quite a big moment that I wanted to share. During the restoration, I used to mark every fault that I would find with a piece of tape. And right now, I actually finished all the faults that I could find in the challenge, which is amazing. Some were very tricky. I had broken compressor boards, which in the end came down to the power supply on them. One of the power supply transistors actually blew, which was not too bad because it showed me where the fault is, so we all survived that. Now, as you can see, there's still two pieces of tape on the board. This one meaning that from that stereo channel I still have to calibrate the left, and then this still, the dim light's not working when I press a solo, but the mute does. And then actually I found a broken diode which should fix this, which is super cool. And yeah, Now I'll be waiting for the master channel still. The master section is not worked on yet, but I hope it will all go nice. And then also I have to test all the auxes with the aux master section, but I feel pretty confident now that I've found a lot of faults in this board and kind of got my way around how this thing works. I'm pretty confident that this will go nicely, but I keep you updated with that. Yeah, that's it for now. Hello and welcome back. Now look at that. The master channel is back from service, and I'm very happy to present this desk with all this surface. Now there's some spoilers already. You might remember from the last episode. The remote for the automation system. I will connect everything later, but the first thing we will do is put in the numbers. I think I found a nice configuration. Now I have the 4 stereo channels to the left, which is a tribute to Chris Lord Algae having his stereo returns for his reverbs on the left of his desk. Then we have the 20 E channels, the master section. Then here the 4 premium channels with dynamics. And then we got the 7 SPLs with the gates, and then the blank. Next to the patch bay, the blank here because we do not have a meter. And then, is this musically the best configuration? I don't know yet. We might want to, if you see, okay, we have a bucket of drums, and we want to have some of the dynamics to the drums. Like use it in SSL fashion for the snare drum, for example, whatever. Or for some guitars. Well, but you could patch it anyways. Or if you want to have the extensive EQ for the bass or the vocals. And but yeah, for now I will keep this configuration, put in all the numbers, and then I'll see you later. Okay, we're back. Now this is a very big moment for me. As I have put all the channels in, they have numbers now. It's getting serious. Now I have also already connected all the channels to my interface system. Now, I didn't show you this, but I've built a 48 in, 48 out interface system. The cheapest I could find over Mali. Thanks RME. Going straight into my laptop. Now I have a small pair of monitors and I will test it in a minute. This might be the first time I would be able to actually listen to how this desk sounds. As you can tell, I'm very excited. The master channel came back from ADT. They fixed it, which is amazing news. Now I should be able to get tracks onto all of these channels and then listen to it. Let's go. Yes. Okay, fast forward from here. Nothing came out of the speakers. I didn't see any signal on the master meter, so back to troubleshooting mode. Okay, so I'm only getting signal on the right. Let me see why. Because I am sending out on every channel. And here goes another 10 to 15 minutes of clicking around, pulling out the master module, seeing what's up, testing the patch bay, until I was ready to get the soldering iron. So I literally turned off the desk to work on it, and then decided maybe let's check a few connections. I turned it back on again, look at that. Now let's pull up a mix, shall we? And that's it. That's the first mix I did offline. I had to enjoy the moment myself now. So far so good. The things work. I was able to listen to how the mix bus compressor was. Of course I will do a full demo of this desk once it's super finished. But for now, just checking out things. This stereo section is so amazing. Like this one's so well balanced. The mono to stereo to over stereo. More on that later. For now, I'm just very happy. Look at it. Big.
So far away, wow. We not talk about
Now before I continue, when I edited this video, I figured that I did not present what I did to the wood on the sides yet. As you can see, I painted it. I also made the nose a little bit shorter. It is still overlapping, but before it had like 2 or 3 centimeters and everybody would just bump into it. So this is a bit shorter. Also, I figured because probably the armrest was made or was renewed, that it wouldn't really fit with the leather, and I didn't want to mess with that. So I messed with this. I still have to get a little more clearing here, but let me show you the other side. Yeah. It just fits nicely. And then you can see I painted it. I don't know if I ever showed you, or you can go back to the first video. The original side panels, they had this color. But then thinking having everything in dark blue would just be too massive for me. And this is a massive console. So I had this laying around. And now I have both colors. I decided on getting both colors. Being this, the original color, always being here. And this kind of reminding me of the color where the desk, color of the room, where the desk was restored. So I am testing. It's testing time. You see here, I started already. I put just the test oscillator here on one of the channels. Send that out to literally every channel. So we have signal on every channel, even on those. I figured that, this one needs to have the bus amp checked. And then there was another one. This one, even though it has stuff on the meter, there's nothing coming on here. But I have signal on every channel. And in the master section, I can choose the auxes to be listened back on the speakers. I don't have it connected to the speakers, but it will also show on the meter. So I have aux 5 and 6 connected. I turn up aux 5 and then I turn up aux 6. And that's how I go and check. And then I mark all the ones that either are very hard to turn, and I will just screw them on again. Probably did a bad job there and had the knob too tight to the rim. Or I get no signal, and then I will check the electronic connections. And if I'm not mistaken, I did check these monitor sections, and I've been having trouble with the op amps there that I used to, or it's a special integrated circuit that is used to balance the signal for the output. I've been having trouble there, so I'll be waiting for a part. That is one thing. And then there's the auxes. And once I got this settled, I might be actually down to 100%. You see, there's just so many knobs and buttons that it just takes ages to get down to really test every single function. But with the aux section now, I'm getting very close, if not to 100% working, which is awesome. Stay tuned. I got all the auxes and the Q-Sense tested, the ones that didn't work, I was able to repair. This is fantastic. Now let me put this desk back together and I'll show you the final result. Awesome. Another big step I didn't know I needed when checking the board and making the first mixes, thinking about how to save them or record them in stems. I started using the full inline functionality. 24 of the channels that I have are inline channels, meaning you have 2 paths inside the same channel, one for going to the tape machine and one for coming from the tape machine. Just before, like split disc would have separate channels for that. Now these are actually 2 channels in one, which is nice, and via here it's called record, you can change where the functions go, like the equalizer, the filter, or in these channels the compressor. Now, as you can see, I have a signal coming in here, sending it to the bus, and from there accepting it on the small faders for the inlines. And now if I switch, I have it working on every channel, which was, as you can guess, contacts. All right, see ya.
And that's it. Now, as you watched me working away on this console, this would have never been possible without the help of so many fantastic people. Now, let me name a few here. Thanks Tim for helping me move this beast. You saw him in episode 1. Thank you Konsti, aka Magic Manfred, to put it on the frame with me and also motivate me to take on this project in the first place. A huge thank you to my girl and partner in crime, Svenja, for your support through all this and not putting us, me and the board, on the street. Seriously, pulling this off at home would involve so much stuff and I am eternally grateful for you believing in me. Thanks Flocky. I don't think I showed the little puppy enough. Thank you Rosemary from ADT for your patience and support. Thank you to the ADT tech for fixing the master channel and also being here on the telephone when things did not arrive the way they should have. Thank you so much Uwe Wagner from Hamburg for your continuous support and also supplying me with the Oxid. You are literally in every switch of this board. Thank you Carla for keeping my spirits high, sitting right here on the board and reminding me to take baby steps. And lastly, thank you for watching, for all your nice comments on this series and motivating me to push forward. So thank you all for your support. Please do not forget to give me the all buttons in on like and subscribe if you enjoy my content. Until next time, have a good one. Ciao.